Hello everybody, I'm Melissa and welcome back to Book Bar and welcome to my January mid-month wrap-up. This is the books that I have completed from the 1st to the 14th of January. Usually I go till the 15th, but obviously I'm filming this on the 15th. And so, yes, currently I am in the middle of 4 books. I'm in the middle of House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. I'm rereading this for the SJM along. So, yes, in the middle of this. I'm about halfway through it. I'm reading it very slowly. I'm taking my time because I am actually hosting the live show for this, the discussion for this one. So, I want to take my time. I want to really absorb the book. This is also my 3rd time reading it. So, that is why. And then I am also in the middle of Queen of Nothing, The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. This is for the Folk of the Air along, which is hosted by Rachel. Rachel from Rachel and Sing started this, so, and co-hosted by a bunch of super fun people, and I am a co-host for it, and so I am slowly making my way through this one also. But yeah, so I started this just last night, but not very far. But I have to read it by Sunday, so that one will be done soon. And then I am also in partway through Never Seduce Scott by Maya Banks. This is my rereading my 2022 faves. This was one of the ones that I am rereading, taking my time. Again, on rereads, I'm trying to read them slower. And then I'm also about 30% into In a Jam by Kate Canterbury. I will probably have it finished today, but it'll be too late to film. So I'm just going to go with it right now. But I have completed 14 books and I have DNF'd 1 this month so far. I am trying to be better about DNFing. I was terrible about it last year and I just want to be better. So we're going to go ahead and get into the 15 books that I am going to talk about. If you are new to my wrap-ups and the way I do them in the order of which I complete the books. So I may have started a book earlier than another book, but I finished that book sooner. So I do it in an order of how I completed them. So just because, like, there's one book that it took me a really long time to read because I was, like, prioritizing other reads in front of it, but I absolutely loved it. So, yes. So I do it in order of how I completed them. So we're just going to go ahead and get on into the first book. The first book that I completed in the month of January was Throttled by Lauren Asher. Throttled is first book in her Dirty Air series. It is on KU. It follows Noah and Maya. And Noah cannot stand Santiago Alatorre, but when his racing team signs Santi to their team, Santi brings his sister along on their tour, the F1 tour. And Noah and Maya cannot deny their attraction to each other. They try to fight it, they try to ignore it, and it's just impossible. So, of course, one thing's going to lead to another when you're in that close of a proximity to each other. And they end up together, and it is fantastic. My biggest complaint was that Noah was still sleeping with other women when he was trying to get with Maya, and I just felt that was a little annoying and frustrating. And yeah, but I still had a great time. I gave it 4 stars. Then the second book I finished was The Friendship Equation by J.R. Gray. This is a male-male romance, and I had a great time with this. This is, why can't I think? Vance and Hardin, and it's a new adult, so they're like 18 in high school, which is a little frustrating because I don't love reading about characters that are still in high school. They are 18, and Vance has always had a crush on Hardin, but he believes Hardin is straight, and he makes a joke to Hardin that maybe Hardin should take his virginity away from him, and Hardin agrees. And of course, Hardin and Vance end up realizing that they are more than just F-buddies. But yeah, this was very steamy. Very good time. There are content warnings for talks of homophobia, and I ended up giving this book 3.5 stars. There were just some things that just didn't make sense to me. The writing was very, I felt repetitive, so I gave it 3.5 stars. It was still a good time. I still enjoy it. Then the next book that I completed was Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing by Matthew Perry. This is a memoir. about Matthew Perry and his life, and I was shocked at some of the things I learned. I mean, I always knew that he was like on drugs and everything during Friends, but I didn't realize how bad it really was. So this is a memoir. I give memoirs 5 stars. Then the next book that I finished was The Scoundrel Falls Hard by Sophie Jordan. This was my lowest rated book on my TBR Uno, and I actually really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. This was Gwen, who is a female blacksmith, which is pretty cool. And then the hero is Kellen, and he is kind of on the run because he did some stuff. And yeah, of course, Gwen saves Kellen. He was gonna get hanged because he pretended to be someone else, and she saves him by saying that they're in love and they're gonna get married. So it's a marriage of convenience, super fun historical romance. I gave it 4 stars. Then I finished The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is a reread for me. This is, if you don't know what this is, basically Jude Duarte and her sisters are the first, in the prologue, they witness their parents get murdered by Jude's half-sister, Vivi's dad, who is a member of the Fae, and he takes them to Fairy to live in Elfhame. And then she grows up in this area, and Jude wants nothing but to have respect and be powerful and be like one of the Fae, even though she is a mortal living in this realm. And she has lots of issues with a boy by the name of Cardan, who is the prince of the High King of Elfhame. And there's all sorts of political things that happen in this book. There's some crazy moments. Jude's sister Taryn is literally the worst. And yeah, there are little hints at a possible future romance between Jude and Cardan in the future. But don't go into this thinking that it is a romance, because it's not. This is very much a political fantasy. And yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. I gave it 5 stars. Then I read The Lost Sisters by Holly Black. This is just a little novella in the Cruel Prince, or in the Folk of the Air series. This is told from Jude's sister Taryn's point of view about some things that happened in the book and like her perspective on it. It was fine. I gave it 3 stars. Then I read The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. This is an epic fantasy wild ride with quests, and it's been 20 years since the augurs were defeated and killed. A boy by the name of Davian, who is attending a school for the gifted, discovers that he has the power of the augurs. When he is convinced to run away from the school, he sets up a chain of events that will change the course of everything in the land. It was fine. I give it 3 stars. Then I read Challenge by Amy Dawes. This is a super fun sports romance. This is the first book in the Harris Brothers world. Cam Harris gets injured on the pitch. It's soccer, they call it football, because it takes place in London, or in Great Britain. So Cam Harris gets injured on the pitch, and he ends up in the hospital, and he meets Indy. Indy is a doctor. I think she's an intern at the hospital, and they are unable to deny their attraction to each other. It is very insta-lusty, insta-lovey, and they do meet, and it's forbidden because she's his doctor, and she specializes in like sports medicine and everything. But yeah, this was fun. I gave it 4 stars. There was Indy had this whole penis list, and that was a little overplayed. It got a little annoying and frustrating, but yeah, I had a great time with it, and it's duet narration, which is wonderful. Then I finished The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. This is a mystery thriller about a sex cult, and I gave it 4.5 stars. My biggest complaint is, of course, that it is not a romance, so there's not a happily ever after, and all the issues that Shay went through were, you don't have that like swoony romance at the end where you can be like, oh, there's hope. There is not that, which is my biggest complaint, which I know, that is on me as a romance reader going into a mystery thriller, but it was still a really good time. And I can definitely see why people absolutely love this book. And again, I would definitely, 4.5 stars is still fantastic. Then I finished The Hardest Fall by Ella Mays. Oh my god, this might be my favorite book of the month. This and one other one are tied pretty much for my favorite books of the month so far. This is Zoe and Dylan. When Zoe first meets Dylan, he has his penis in his hand. He is going to the bathroom. She follows him into the bathroom, not realizing it was the bathroom. And she asks him to kiss her. And he turns around because he has a girlfriend. So she's mortified and then spends the next 2 years trying to avoid him until he ends up being her roommate. So, of course, things are going to happen when you're forced to live together. Yeah, it was fantastic. 5 stars. I absolutely adored this book so much. Then I finished Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt. This book is the other one that is tied for my favorite. This is age gap, friends to lovers, mutual pining. Oh my god, just amazing mutual pining. Oh, single dad. Fantastic. So basically, Farley is a comedian and she is asked to go on this tour with 2 other female comedians. And they say to kind of drum up some interest for Farley because she is young and she's not really necessarily young, but she's new to the scene. They say that she should fake date someone, and so she ends up fake dating her manager, Meyer, who is a former comedian, now a single dad, and just absolutely fantastic, phenomenal. Loved it so much. Do know that there are content warnings for loss of a parent talked about, and complications during childbirth that lead to loss of life. So, not really a spoiler, but do know that going in because I did not, and that was tough to read about, but it made sense in the story and it worked out. Then I finished The Wicked King by Holly Black. This is the second book in the Folk of the Air trilogy, the Cruel Prince trilogy. This can't really say much about it because it takes place like 5 months after the events of the first book. And yeah, this is 5 stars, fantastic. I absolutely love it. You do see a little bit more of the romance going into it. There are discussions on both of these books that I will try to link to both the Cruel Prince and that one. And then we're going into my DNF, which was The Obsession by Nora Roberts. I was reading this for Jess from Peace Love Books for her Patreon, and I got like 130 pages in, and I was so bored. Basically, this girl, Naomi, when she's like 11 years old, she follows her dad into the woods and discovers that he is a murderer and had murdered and raped a bunch of women, and she saves one of them from this. And I guess it's supposed to set, like, she ends up being obsessed with this whole thing. But yeah, I was bored. It's supposed to be romantic suspense. And like I said, I was bored. So I DNF'd it because I love myself. Then I finished An Echo of Things to Come by James Ellington. This is the second book in the Licanius trilogy. It's following what happened after The Shadow was lost. I gave it 3 stars. It was a good time. I have discovered that I don't think I'm an epic fantasy, classic fantasy girly, and that's fine. I will still probably complete the trilogy just because I want to, but yeah. And then the last book that I finished was The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. I am not going to rate this because even though it is a fiction story, it is the life of someone that actually happened. It is a fictionalized version of Lale Sokolov's life. And I just don't feel like I could put a star rating on someone's lived experience because part of my biggest complaint with this was the writing. I just don't think Heather Morris has the type of writing that I connect with. You would think with the harrowing journey that this story goes on, I would have felt way more emotions, but I felt like I was reading a textbook, and so about World War II, and being in a concentration camp. So I ended up finishing it, and I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, anytime I read a story like this, my life Like, I just feel so terrible. And I really, like, think about my life and all of the things that I have been blessed with. And that I am lucky enough to live, you know, to be a straight, white, female living in America. I have lots of things that are awarded to me as that. So it always makes me think and makes me very introspective. And yeah, what a way to end this. But that is my reading month so far. If you made it to the end of this video, leave me a smiley face emoji because, you know, I read some good books. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff. It really helps me out. And I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye!